So I'll let Rick talk about, his amazing career in last 25 years. Rick, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm Rick Kahn. I've been in the industry for about 25 years. I grew up in a construction world. My dad was a mechanical contractor in Brooklyn, New York. And at a young age of 15, my dad started bringing me on the job site. He taught me the trades. I was a pipe fitter foreman by the time I was in college. So I worked through college when I went to NJIT in Newark, New Jersey, studying architecture. I was always been a creative person, but what I learned from my father is he's like, look, I don't want you to come out here and work as hard as I do and my folks do. I want you to come back and help us work smarter, not harder, and safer. I remember having lots of injuries, pipe fitting, whether it's flux falling in my eye or getting burnt or whatnot. And, I saw, firsthand a lot of the challenges that the folks in the field faced. And, again, my dad was like, come back and help us work better. So that was instilled in me really early on. And I went to school for architecture. I was very creative and interested in designing the right way so we can build the right way. And I kind of went into the field really leveraging 3D technology in the early 90s and trying to find ways to build details more effectively so they can be built easier. Trying to understand the overlapping of different membranes and how things are fastened, and really starting to apply that in the design phase. And what my leaders realized was, hey, you're more fit for construction administration. So go work in the field with the construction team. And I learned more on one project than I learned the 3 years that I was in the architectural profession. Before I sat for my license, I realized that, hey, I want to go do more of this 3D technology and learn. So I kind of shifted over to the computer graphics industry and learned lots of new ways to leverage 3D technologies in terms of configurators. I worked on video games like Gran Turismo and worked on movies and commercials where we digitized, cars and things like that to apply to movies and commercials. And all of that was innovation, even in architecture. And then, in about 2005, I saw this ad for construction and using technology, and it was at Mortenson, and I landed that job, and it was like my dream job. It was taking all the innovation that I've learned over the last, 7 or 8 years and applied it directly to construction. Um, I started in the BIM and VDC phase, which I always thought BIM and VDC was innovation. And from the get-go, from 2005, I was privileged enough and found the most reward in my career by leading a community of practice and moderating it and bringing people together and working on shared challenges and innovating year after year. Over my career, I've really focused in on how do we help people? How do we focus on process and then leverage technology to truly focus on the future of how we design and build? So that's a little bit about me. I'm a father of two budding innovators. I play the ukulele. I surf whenever I can, although I live in Minneapolis right now. But that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, I remember you lived in Hawaii a little bit and you were surfing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think, I bought my son a ukulele actually inspired by you.
No, thanks.
I remember during COVID, we were posting a lot of videos about, and that actually inspired me to make some music at the time as well. So, it's not just construction, Rick. I'm inspired by your musical avenues as well.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. I know that you've gone through several phases of 25 years. You've seen papers being used now, all technology being used. Can you talk a little bit more about why construction tech and why construction itself and how it impacts us?
Yeah. Well, We are experiencing the slowest rate of change we will ever experience in our lifetime. And society's needs and demands are only increasing. With that, the landscape of technology and needs, whether it's ESG, city resilience, workforce housing, urbanization, electrification, and all the new technologies that are coming out, as an industry, we are challenged with trying to keep up. There's so many things happening. Owners are, asking for net zero, and then some sophisticated owners are asking for net positive in terms of their project outcomes. And, it's requiring the AEC industry to innovate. We have to innovate to meet the needs of society. And that's where all of this really stems from, right? This is part of the challenge. But I think, trying to understand the true impacts of all this accelerating change, what does it mean for the AEC industry, the built environment? So I think, we really need to look at the impacts of, these changes and how it's impacting our globe.
Yeah, and I think we are in the middle of the whole urbanization, where we're building new cities. Not in the U.S., but I think globally there are new cities being built all over the country. We have countries and cities in Saudi Arabia right now with billions of dollars spent on NEOM and Red Sea project, right? And this only is going to accelerate more, where we're going to need better hospitals, better roads, better affordable housing. And I think that construction and construction tech, is super important to help manage the change, because we can't use older tools to build new housing, right? And I think that so let's talk about some of the impacts of the industry.
Yeah, I like to say necessity breeds innovation. Right, we have a global impact on Earth with the AEC industry. Whether it's from 50% landfill waste or air pollution, water pollution. In terms of using up natural resources of the planet. Then we have a people challenge. Construction specifically is still one of the most dangerous industries there is. We have the second highest rate of suicide compared to other industries. We have a lack of labor coming into the industry, and we have a lot of senior tribal knowledge leaders retiring in the industry. So we have some key conditions that require us to truly innovate to solve real life problems. And I think people. I like to say also, like, the AEC industry enables society to happen. Without the AEC industry, we would not have a society functioning the way it does. And I think it's critical. It's a massive multi-trillion-dollar global industry, and it affects every person on planet Earth.
And I remember, Rick, meeting you about several years ago in the Innovation Lab, where we talked about craft workers, subcontractors as trade partners, and workers as craft workers, right? And I think that we want to bring back that culture of respect to the trades and respect to the subcontractors, as not just there's another subcontractor, but that appreciation of the art that they bring, right? Which is, and then we talked about this earlier about how, labor shortage and how do we attract more new generation of workforce to our market, right? And I think we can talk a little bit about that. So where do you see some of these opportunities or challenges, right, in terms of different workforces?
Yeah, and it's about people, right? There's three key things that stand out to me. One is, the lack of tribal knowledge transfer down to the younger generation. By 2030, 41% of construction workforce will retire. The average age is 61, and the seasoned builders and managers, a lot of tribal knowledge that has to be transferred in order for innovation to truly happen. The other aspect is silos. We are fragmented, like everybody knows. But the silos is preventing knowledge transfer, it's preventing collaboration and limiting innovation. So, the silos are put there to manage risk, whether it's people, process, IP, or whatnot. It's there, even in the regulatory agencies create silos for us. If you look at many cities in this country, the permitting process is one of the most complex processes there is. And it just amplifies the silos that exist between the disciplines. And last but not least is the labor shortage. And I'm not just talking about construction. I'm talking about the AEC workforce. I'm talking about there's talent not coming into our industry anymore as before. We have people moving in and switching to technology companies, becoming entrepreneurs. So in one way, it's pretty exciting to see young talent go that route. But it's also, we're removing some of that great talent in our industry. And I think it's critical that we are focused in how do we attract and incentivize and recognize young talent, whether it's in high schools or universities, and really bring those people and give them a head start. So this way, when they start working in our industry, they are prepared to innovate and not just there to learn from scratch. So I think, that's a big focus of the workforce in the next 10 years.
And you mentioned a very interesting point about attracting new talent to the workforce. Yes, and it's not that we can just skip this chapter, because who's going to build all these buildings, right? And where do you think the technology comes into play in solving the problem of labor shortage?
Well, going back to the generational topic, we have a new workforce in schools that are coming out already using AI generative tools to either write information and generate videos, generate images, and it's all about data. So we have this new workforce coming in with a completely new skill set and understanding and ways to collaborate and focus on people. And that's going to clash with, the existing workforce. So we have to figure out a way to connect dots, to connect people to capabilities, to connect people to knowledge. So this way we can grow as an industry together instead of breaking, leveraging or dealing with the silos that exist. This new generation is going to come in. So for instance, here's an example, right? So new designers in the architectural world come in and they're using generative AI tools to create dozens of iterations of their design. Right now, go downstream from that, for that, right? So it goes to the construction team after engineering, and the construction team now, the architects show the owner 10, 15 different designs that they love, out of 100 versus out of 3, and now as a construction team, we have to estimate more, we have to schedule more. So if we are not using those tools alongside our designers and engineers, we're not going to be prepared for the future. So again, that generational challenge and knowledge transfer is critical for us to actually leapfrog and get into the future.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the problem of silos is also very interesting, but I think safety is one of the other piece where bringing safety culture and bringing safety to the workforce is important, so that the newer generation of workforce come to the to the industry feeling that, okay, look, this is something that I can rely my life on, And you were true that, I can see lots of kids. I was talking to one of my friends who's a teacher, and they're saying, many students are already using on grade 4 or 5 to use ChatGPT to write articles, or do their homeworks right now, right? So I think we should be ready for that for that change, and it's coming. And I think it's a good change in a way that there will be a shift on how we're going to build, and we should just be ready for that.
Absolutely, we need to be prepared, and we need to prepare our people for that. That's the thing. It's not just being prepared; it's preparing people to be able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as everybody knows on this call, we are stuck in a lagging indicator environment in the AEC industry, where we're tracking information manually, whether it's paper, pen, Excel. There's double entry, there's all this excessive movement, there's a lot of waste in the process. And these lagging indicators are just giving us an understanding of past performance. And it helps us understand what we need to do better to influence the future performance. So you move from lagging to leading. So we've been, over the last 10 years, the industry has been really focused in on how do we get to leading from a safety, from all these different productivity, efficiency standpoints. And we're still capturing manual data to do this. So our people are spending time in tedious, non-value added work to just understand and analyze past performance. So that's a problem. That's a major problem in our industry.
So how do we go to skip to the leading indicator?
Yeah. Here's our opportunity. An opportunity to move from manual data capture to automated data capture. We have to leapfrog over leading because with the accelerating change in the industry and the environment, we have to be prepared, and we have to prepare our people for that. And the only way to prepare is to be prescriptive, is to understand past, understand how do we move from manual data collection to automated data collection. So this way our people are spending less time on non-value added activities and more time on higher value activities, more time collaborating with other people, with vendors, with trades, with designers, more time in engaging their customer, more time finding the right or the best solution based on having the relevant information at the right place, right time, and to the right people. So we have huge opportunities here. And this is where my focus has always been, 10 years down the road, right? And trying to understand where the industry is headed and trying to build a path to get there. Right? We talk about time horizon 1, 2, and 3. And I love talking about time horizon 3, which is 10, 15 years away. And what are the steps that we have to create? What's the roadmap to get to that, right? And it's interesting, as you kind of plan out that roadmap, you can set strategies in place in your organization to meet that future state, So it's pretty exciting opportunity.
Yeah. When we talk about manual data capture, translating, changing that into high value work, right? Just like you said, going to the field teaches you a lot. I still go to the field to talk to our customers and get the feedback from what they're doing. We make a lot of decisions on product, selling, and different things. And I still hear that there are people like supers and foremen do love to go around job sites and count the number of people or do check who's working on what and how much work has been completed, right? And I know that all of these things is ultimately going to need to be automated for and as well as when the new workforce comes in, right? How do you see this change happening? Because people are still they still love to go and walk around the job site. It's it's somebody's job there actually, and do you see there's a conflict there, or how do you translate that?
No, I think we want to promote more people on their job site managing, helping people, perform work. You're going to still have those people walking around, but maybe they'll be wearing a wearable that captures information as they walk. There's tools from a reality capture standpoint, like OpenSpace and dronedeploy and all these awesome tools out there, still requiring people to walk the job site. Why should we stop that? We need to understand what's happening so we can help people on the job site. So I don't see that ever going away. I just see a more effective job walk that automates some core processes that are typically done by the superintendent or the PE at the end of the day or over the weekend, just trying to get a report out for the next day. So, I don't see job walks ever stopping.
So let's talk about some of the automated data collection, right? And I'm sure you've tested and tried many of the solutions in the last several years. We're going to talk a little more about that.
Yeah. So, the opportunity is in these emerging technologies that, one of the key things is IoT in terms of really helping us leapfrog into the future. IoT is still disruptive today, but not for long. Look at AI and where it's come in 2 or 3 years. It's unbelievable. So change is only accelerating. And if you're not in it today, you're going to be left behind. You're going to become obsolete. And I think that's the kind of mindset that we have to shift to. We can't just say, oh, we got to, we're focused on X, Y, and Z. If we're not focused on the future and how we're going to work, then our people are not going to be prepared for it. So it's really important that we start thinking about, an IoT is kind of like a Horizon 3, right? Topic. And as more technologies are getting built, they're all connected, right? We're seeing large equipment being connected. It's been around for a while, machine grade control, but even like the scissor lifts and things like that, telematics are starting to be implemented into the technology, so this way they can understand runtime and utilization and to optimize the usage of that piece of equipment or whatnot. Even hand tools, with battery technologies, there's lots of IoT sensors built into that, so it's already happening. So if we're not prepared, if we're not using it and testing it and trying to validate how this impacts our business, then we're not going to be ready for the future.
So as we move towards the future, how we see this evolution happening, and Rick, you mentioned about Industry 4.0, right? Which is where we see the future next step is going to go. I do want to spend a little bit of your time because you see this arc from those paper-based processes being used in construction, like spreadsheet and everything, from first testing out like Procore, and now it's it's an $8 billion company. Can you tell me a little bit more about your experience of implementing Procore? Was it like that seamless and easy that everybody just in the first day said, hooray, let's use it? Or did you see, you had to go through a process there?
Oh yeah, it was heavy on process. This started back in 2012 at Mortensen, where we were using a kind of, a legacy on-premise project management solution that was really heavily customized to the way they did business, and it worked for a time. And then, 2000, after the iPad and all these mobile apps came out, we realized that our tool was only effective in the office, on the job site office, or the back office. And it really wasn't providing value to the people in the field, people who have to make decisions, the people who are coordinating and managing other trades and really trying to drive trade flow. That's where the problem really existed. And, we started to interview. We interviewed over 100 team members on job sites, from PE superintendents, PMs, and executives and safety people, and trying to understand what are the challenges they face on a day-to-day basis. And it was like, some basic things. It was, we can't do our work in the field. We don't have access to the latest information. We're finding it hard to communicate with our trades or our design partners or our owner. We lack collaboration in terms of solving challenges. RFIs take 2 weeks versus 3 to 5 days. So the core business problems existed, and we realized we needed a mobile-first solution. So we started exploring the market after 6 months of trying to understand the problem and identifying some of the key business processes that we were trying to solve for. And it was all about people, improving the work experience of our people, so this way they spend more time on higher value added activities. And then we searched for technologies. There was very little technologies that were mobile first on the market, right? You had PlanGrid, you had, you know, new evolving technologies like Procore and others coming to market. And, you know, we went to Procore because we liked a simple user interface. It had all the core business processes that we were trying to address in the solution. We ran a 3-month pilot with 3 jobs. We had nothing but stellar reviews from our owner, from our design partners, from our trade partners, and from our team. And even our project executives were like, I can just go on the mobile app and check the progress of the job. And that was never done before in the company. So quickly we moved to the enterprise solution with Procore within 12 months of starting the understanding process. And we were, at the time, we were the first top 20 GC enterprise with Procore. And Mortensen's been a partner with them ever since. So it was a really interesting time where, you know, the move from paper to digital paper, to process digital information, to innovation. It was interesting to see that from 2007 to 2016. And like 2016, it exploded with new technology, new entrepreneurs coming in the market, a flood of venture capital in the market, and there was an explosion of innovation that happened. So it was really interesting to see, to live through that time, and experience that.
So Rick, how do these things come together? Like, you know, I know that you've had this massive wealth of information knowledge. How do you take it further from there?
Yeah, people hear me say this all the time, but people innovate, organizations don't innovate. So it starts and ends with people. And one of the things that, I've been focused on, and I feel like I've learned the most about in my career in our industry is, connecting people, helping them collaborate on common problems, and partnering, whether it's internally and externally, to deliver innovation is truly the name of the game, And I think if we don't focus on our people over the next decade, we will run into major challenges after 2030 with all the ESG goals or urbanization. By 2050, 70% of the population will be in kind of metro areas. So like, how do we combat that? It starts with people, helping them, be prepared for that future state.
And I know that the company that you're building right now is geared towards that, right? Which is, you want to talk a bit more about your community creation at Innov8aec?
Where to start is really to start building a community within your organization. Does your community have communities of practice where your people are connected, whether it's by role or by function or by back office, front office, whatever? Have you created spaces for collaborations where cross-functional teams can actually work on common problems and innovate as a unit? Are you creating communities that are focused on problems to solve, not just, hey, let's get together and let me tell you what I've been working on? Or it's like, let's focus on an area to address, and let's share our knowledge and experience, and let's partner to accelerate innovation. That's where it really starts. It's about community. I remember back in the day, BIM Forum, the AGC BIM Forum, it was the first community of innovators in the industry that I remember. We used to get together twice a year and share best practices, connect. The people that I met then, I'm still really close with today. And most of those people are leaders in organizations now. And we all kind of grew up together. We all started sharing things, and it wasn't like we were sharing proprietary information, but, we were running into problems, and I would call up my buddy in another company and be like, hey, have you dealt with this problem before? And they were like, oh, no, but talk to so-and-so. And we just started connecting, and then we started collaborating, and then we started solving challenges together. And that's been lost. Over the last 5 or 6 years, where's our community? Where is it? We have all these conferences. Only a few select people go to conferences. So it's for the elites conferences. Where is our community? So I'm really focused in on building a new community where it integrates our people. It connects people to knowledge, to capabilities out there, whether it's investors, whether it's entrepreneurs, whether it's technology companies. We're creating one space to be able to do that. And it doesn't really exist. It's not LinkedIn. It's not Facebook. It's a social business group focused on accelerating innovation. So that's kind of focused on community.
And Rick, you and I also met at a community event, actually.
That's right. We met 2011, 12. I remember we were, it was in the evening, we were in the lounge, you came up.
It was in Chicago. It was much later than that, but yes.
Yes.
So communities are important for inspiration, for learning, right? And just to go in the right direction, I'm excited about your forum.
Yeah.
You want to talk more about how all that comes together?
Yeah. When you think about community, it's around a collective of pursuing results and transformation. It's about building new practices together. It's about navigating rapid change. And I talked about a little bit about connecting people, but, again, when I was at Mortensen, I helped lead and facilitate the IDAT community, the Integrated Delivery Advancement Team. And it was made up over 100 cross-functional team members, whether it's mathematicians, computer science people, mechanical engineers, architects, pre-construction folks, leaders. It was a community driven by the practitioners, sponsored and supported by leadership. It was a ground-up innovation team, and we innovated almost every quarter as a unit. We standardized our processes, and then we started innovating on those processes. We started moving from 3D to data, where data and 3D became a way to drive reporting and updating of progress. And it was exciting. And I had the greatest experience. The people that I worked with, I'm still really close with. We formed a community. That community still exists at Mortensen, but the external community exists as well. So, it's really exciting to see a community of practice really focus in on the future.
So, I think you're launching this. Congratulations. I'm excited to be part of that as well in the future. So tell us about, is it a platform? Is it a website? What is it?
Yeah, so go to the next slide real quick. So what it is an online community platform that really is a hub and spoke model, where we have the industry professionals, AEC industry professionals, that connects to emerging talent, students. We want to bring our students in early on to start building a network, start learning from the best practices from industry experts. We're going to create a learning and development section where we have learning topics every month. And, the host or the moderator will provide a quick intro or a discussion or some training courses around that. And the community can add to that, provide resources, say, hey, have you thought about this? And the goal is to create a new best practice as a community. We will also be doing R&D with students. I think while I was at Mortensen, I was part of the CIFE organization, the PACE organization at Penn State. The CIFE organization is out of Stanford, and over 15 years, we were involved in multiple research projects. Some of them resulted in industry technologies like Alice Technologies with Renee Marcos. We did multidisciplinary optimization, generative design research in 2013 with Boris Flager. And it was there that we started to understand the ability to partner with academia, industry, and technology can truly drive innovation. And we want that to be part of our community. We're going to have our technology partners there. Instead of like selling or, we're creating a technology exchange. So technology partners can have their own space where they host their own events, all in the same community platform. So now we have, instead of having disparate information and technology vendors, investors, and industry organizations, it's all going to be in one place. So our community can have a better integrated experience. And the goal is to create a community, whether it's the United States or a global community. And, you know, this exists in different forms, but a lot of the forms that exist, whether it's LinkedIn, it's really about networks. It's really about connecting people, but it's not about solving problems. It's not about connecting people, collaborating on common problems, and the result, the outcome, is new practices. And that's the ultimate goal of our new community.
And this is the link, Rick, is the Innov8aec/community.
Yeah, it's just a link to my website that just provides some overview on it. And yeah, we're rolling out the platform in Q1 of next year. So in the next 3 months, I'll be reaching out to academic partners, technology vendors, investors, you know, professional service providers like BIM consultants or you know, strategy consultants, and you know, they're all going to be part of our network. So our industry experts, our students can have access to learn and grow as a unit.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to be a part of that.
Yeah, it'll
Cool.
be fun.
So I guess we're gonna come to an end here. For Innov8aec, there's a link, and feel free to reach out to Rick directly from LinkedIn as well, right? We look forward to your new platform coming up in 2024. As a Kwant, you know, here is a QR code to sign up and start trying this out if you haven't already. And please give us a feedback. You know, keep joining our webinars in the future and keep innovating.